the consequences of stress is just a review that stress can have two types of consequences. One is that the first one is that stress, when a person is overstressed, is working or dealing with a lot of pressures at home, that person does not have time for developing a good lifestyle. And then with an unhealthy lifestyle, it will increase the risk of diseases or lifestyle related diseases. So a person does not have time to eat properly, to exercise, to sleep. Mostly they don't sleep very well, if they sleep at all. And those are the main issues that, that are related. In my opinion, this is the main problem with stress. But the second one is a little more biological. That's the effect of the HPA axis, like the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands. So hypothalamus and pituitary are in the brain. When a person is affected by stress, he has these areas activated, and then this activation will lead to an activation of the adrenal gland. An adrenal gland has several components or several areas that produces hormones and substances that will affect our health. One of them is the catecholamines, like adrenaline or noradrenaline, and this is related to hypertension. Another one is cortisol, and cortisol will increase inflammation. Cortisol will increase blood glucose and lipids, and also will affect blood pressure. So if we consider number one and number two together, so consequences of an unhealthy lifestyle and then direct consequences of this substance, we will see that there will be an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, cancer, autoimmune diseases, depression, anxiety, and so. So it's pretty much what we are seeing nowadays in our society. The main cause of diseases are those, and one of the main factors is stress. In terms of stress management, I divide the stress management in three major components. One is the stress perception. You know that something that is stressful for you might not be for me, because I see things in a different way. And then when we see those things, we try to help our patients, our clients, to see if what they are perceiving as stress might not be that much stressful. And so we try to work with them in that area with what they are calling today cognitive behavioral therapy, that is trying to see that the things a little more positive, and try to evaluate, try to see other people's opinion, and try to see the big picture of what is happening around you. And maybe after doing that, your stress might be less if you perceive it as not aggressive or not harmful as it is. The second is the stressors management. So when you go there and you see the things outside of you, how can you manage that? This is the most complicated part of stress control, managing the things that affect you. Like how can you manage your boss, or how can we manage or change the situations at your house, in your employment, or the things that affect you from people that are from outside. Is very complicated. But some of the things you can do, like being more assertive and learn how to say no sometimes, or don't accumulate too many things or too many activities in your life, or control better your time and organize your life. So all of these things are important for stress management, that are in the outside of you. And then the third part is coping strategies. This is our center the major stress management. When I teach my class on stress, this is the major thing in the class. More than half of the course is related or designed or designated for coping strategies, how you can increase your coping strength, how can you increase your ability to cope, to face, to resist the stressors. And that's why we talk about relaxing strategies, developing hobbies, developing activities that you enjoy. Like, for instance, if a person works in a very stressful environment and cannot change that, we say, okay, you should do something on the side to compensate for that. You should develop some other activities that you can relax and you can have fun, like music, humor, sports, exercise, nature, whatever. So with those three ideas in mind, we go to the main topic. That is the, I have one more here, one more illustration to talk about the three aspects of stress management. So when you face a rattlesnake, the perception is that the first perception for most people will be, my goodness, let's get out of here, or let's kill it, or but some people might develop, hey, leave this alone, as she will not do anything unless you step on it. Or some other people say, well, this is beautiful, I have to take a picture of that. So the perception is different. I'm not telling you to stop and take pictures of rattlesnakes if you see one of them, okay? This reminds me of a guy that was in Yellowstone, and then he faced a grizzly bear. And instead of running away or doing something else, he said, well, I'm gonna take a picture, yeah. So now we have the picture of the bear and the picture of the person in his tomb. So not a good idea. But this is just an example of how perception can change. Then stress control is what could you do to avoid the rattlesnake action there. Well, first, maybe you should not walk on that place, or have a stick to hit the ground, or know if she is rattling. If she is not rattling, maybe you go on your way and it will not do anything. Or carry an anti-rattle snake spray. Not sure if we have such a thing. I mean, try to see on the side of the rattlesnake, on the side of situation, what you can do to avoid that. That this would be stressor, control of the stressor. And then the stress coping. Stress coping is what you should do on your lifestyle. I put some example: wear your boots and carry an anti-venom, or throw a stone on the snake, or carry a snake stick that you can immobilize the snake, or develop a physical activity, or improve your fitness to able to run, to climb a tree, or to escape from that. So this would be the coping strategy. Or praying. Praying would be another one. Well, I would say sometimes it's not clear cut where is that when the perception affects the stressor, when the coping is stressor control, or just coping. In general, we can have those three, but sometimes they kind of might be affecting, might be interrelated, or might be interpreted together. So let's see, let's go to the Bible now and talk about the first, one of the first verses that talk about stress. And this was words from Jesus Christ. So in Mark 1:35, he was saying, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. In fact, well, this was written by Mark, not by Jesus directly. And so this creates a little bit of interesting point here. He had this habit to pray every morning, and it was not meditation. So we have a lot of things today talking about meditation, and then what is the difference between meditation and prayer? Meditation would be sometimes meditation has other components. I'm not going to discuss meditation here, but just the difference would be mostly that prayer, you go and you communicate with God directly. So, and we talk about, you talk to God about your struggles. You talk to God, sharing what God has done for you, thanking Him for being protecting you, or talk to God. So you can ask prayer for other people also when you are doing so. And so I would say that prayer is a meditation with a purpose. Prayer is a meditation when you are communicated with a supernatural power, different than sometimes you do a meditation and then they ask you to think about your environment and think that you are touching, that you are in the presence, that you are feeling your foot or your feet in the ground, that you are kind of trying to not think about things in the future, trying to clear your mind of things. When we talk about prayer, we talk about we go and talk to God. And that's, I believe in this case, is the main, most important thing. And I believe the prayer here could affect the perception, because God will start showing you that what you are facing is not that harmful, or what you are facing, He will provide for that. And then your perception is not going to be that harmful. You are controlling, you are better to control the situation because you know that God is in charge. And then you are relaxing because you know that God is in control. So it affects those three areas that we mentioned before. Let's go to another verse, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat. He said to them, this is Jesus telling the disciples, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. So here we talk about nature and rest, and we are talking about physical rest, because sometimes they use the word rest for another purpose. And essentially this is coping. So Jesus is telling people that we need to have rest. If your life is 24/7 concerned about something, and then you go over your weekend and you never stop, and you go to your bed, and sometimes we work more in our beds thinking about the problems and how to solve them, and we don't have rest. That's not good. That's gonna cause some stress, and I would say some other consequence of stress, as we mentioned in the beginning. So Jesus is telling us that we need to develop strategies to cope. And one of them is say, go to nature, go to a quiet place, and then just relax. And that's the view here. Then in Matthew 11:28, Jesus have another type of rest that he mentioned. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. So now he's talking about rest as a synonym of peace, relaxation, and then relax. I will give you what you need. So In that case, I believe this will affect, again, the three aspects of stress control, stress coping. The perception, the stressors, and the coping. And the secret here is being connected with Jesus. And you might say, well, how can I be connected with Jesus? So there are some evidence in the Bible that people ask me, how can I do that? I mean, how can you give me this rest? How can you give me this life that I need? And then the secret here is to increase the connection with Jesus by prayer, by studying more about him in the Bible, and by asking him and thanking him for your own life. So is a connection, is an intimacy that you develop. Once you develop that, and if you are under stress, he will help you to change your perception, to change your stressors, and to increase your strength to face the situation. So very clear. And then we continue in the same area, but in Matthew 6:19-20, there we have this verse: do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. So this is one important topic for the focus, and I believe this is essentially stressors management. So you go there and say, well, the most that I buy here, the most that I have here, the many properties that I have, the many cars that I have, the many goodies that I have, if my mind is there, it might increase my stress. And that's what they say. Jesus saying, okay, it's not, but it's not even a matter of having much, but where is your focus? So you can have the problem is not to acquire things, but the problem is to have your heart on that. And if you go in the rest of this verse in the Bible, you see that where your heart is, your treasure is, or your treasure is where your heart is. And that's the problem with the stress. Once you become more into the things itself and forget the eternal issues, you might have more stress than if you put things in perspective. Let's go to another verse, Matthew 6:25. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you'll eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? And this, again, is talking about the stressors management. Don't worry about that. People say, okay, if I don't worry, how can I survive? But Jesus is not telling you that you should not work and you just sit and wait for bread to fall from heaven. He is saying that you should do whatever you need to do in life. Yeah, take care of your family, get your job, and be with me. Because I'm telling you that if you be with me, your life will be certain. He is not saying here that he will give you the most expensive and luxurious car and house and things, but he was saying here that you will have provision for food, for drink, and for wearing, and I would say shelter. Yeah? Food, drink, and shelter is gonna be sure, and that's why he was assuring us that we should not worry much about that. And the fact that what can we do for life? Somehow we think that our life, once we approach life and put things in life very in perspective, very in a priority, and then we forget about other things, we get in trouble. As one of my patients that I mentioned, that he was married with a wife and has a girl, and then he designed a company, and then it was I believe it was a PVC tubes factory that he had in Brazil, and he designed that, and he had a kind of branch. He started branching it in several different cities in the country, and then I told him, hey, but you are not spending time with your family. And then he said, well, I'm providing for my family. My wife and my kid, they have whatever you can imagine, they have everything. And then I said, well, but do they have you? Is this more important to provide everything for your family and then you are not there? So what happened is that his wife divorced, and then they separate and they went their own ways. And so he was very rich, but because of the focus more in life than in the family, took everything away. We continue with the same idea. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So again, this is affecting the perception and affecting the stressors, and saying that, hey, you are in charge of today. You are not in charge of tomorrow. Tomorrow, whatever it is that is going to happen is going to happen. And then also you don't have any power over life and over disease and over accidents. Sometimes things happen, and then you don't have control over it. So don't worry about tomorrow. Live your today. So this is very clear. And then one of the last verses is the one that we use a lot. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. And this is a matter of priority. So once your life has the things in perspective and in a different hierarchy, but in the appropriate one, that God is first, maybe your family and work is second and third, you will have the kingdom of God first, and then whatever you need in life will be provided for you if you have him in first place. And then you don't need to stress about things that happen, because God is in control. So your perception of things will change. God is going to be in charge of the stressors of life. Yes, you give your life to him. He is going to be in charge. And God will help you to increase your coping strength. He will do that, and you are not going to be overstressed about that. Summarizing things, in terms of Jesus and what he mentioned about stress, the physical rest is important, prayer is important, and the spiritual rest is important. It's important to have the priorities straightened, and the main thing is to have more intimacy with God. When you have this level, your perception of stress will change. Your stressors are not going to be that stressing anymore, and you will have more strength to cope with the things that happen to you. And it's very important for us to address those, because it looks like it's not a matter of having money, because a person can be very poor and very stressed out, because the needs that we have in this world are similar. And then if we don't have the priorities in the right place, we might be concerned, even if we have a small salary as professors in the School of Public Health. Sorry about that, but we have things that we need to do. And if we go after those things, we get in trouble. I like to share whatever with you one experience that I had when I was working in Hong Kong. I worked there for 6 years, and then it was time for me to move back to the United States. I used to have a green card on that time. I cut all my connections with Brazil. I didn't have anything there. And then staying in China was not a good idea for us and for the family. I have 3 children here. Well, they were older already. They were over 18 years old. But still, we need to find a job to go back to America. And we look and look and look, and it was a big stress on that time. And then I found one job that was offered to me in La Sierra University, 30 minutes, 20 minutes from Loma Linda. And we applied for that, and it looks like we were getting that job. And we thank the Lord for that. But when we got to the interview, what happened is that someone else came before us, and they hired someone else. And it was a big disappointment. And then I have another opportunity to go to Hawaii. And then we pray, and so we go to Hawaii. My wife did not like it, because Hawaii is good for vacation, but not to stay there. The cost of life is a little higher. The weather is a little hot, and so she was not motivated for that. My children, however, they were very excited. But what happened is that one time they told us, you come to Hawaii, spend 1 week here in a hotel, and then you see what you are going to do. And if you like, you can come. I told my wife, we are not gonna, if we go to stay 1 week there, we are gonna stay there. We're gonna accept the call. So, but then I pray to the Lord, if you are in control, and we have this opportunity to work in Hawaii. If you have a better option, you tell us before this day. So it's a different dealing that we have with the Lord, but we ask him until Friday, you have to give us a response. And then when I was about to buy the tickets on Friday afternoon, I got an email from Dr. Modesti from the School of Public Health that they have a job for me in Loma Linda. And the rest is history, because I accepted call, and since 2007 I am teaching in the school. So this is something that shows that sometimes we are over concerned about things, but God has a plan. If we put in his hands, we don't need to worry. The secret is to know more about Jesus, to walk with him, to not be a nominal Christian, to be a real Christian, but put Jesus first, and put the priorities, the prayer, the meditation in the Bible as a main thing in your life. And now, time for discussion. If we have any question, anything to add to this, now is the time. So I will finish this. I will stop sharing this, and if we still have people together with us, we have the same group here, it's time for you to give your opinion, your question, your disagreement, if you will.
Dr. Dos Santos, can I share a testimony?
Okay, you can. Lisbeth is one of our students in preventive care. And she is from Michigan, okay?
It was the end of the quarter last year, my very first quarter in the program. And I think it was like maybe the last couple of weeks, I was just getting very, very stressed with all the work I had to do. And then we also had to travel on the last day of classes. So I just prayed and I asked God to really calm me down and to be able to focus. And I said, you know, I'm in your hands. And that was my prayer. And he took it all away from me. So all that stress was gone. So yes, I do believe that prayer works in miraculous ways.
Amen.
At least it did with me.
Great, 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 great. Marieka, I know you want to say something.
When the Drayson and Preventive Care office closed, my life, I felt like I was spiraling down. I thought, oh no, what is going to happen here? So as I cooled it for about a week in the house, I had the Jesus talk. Lord, help me to be a vessel for you, to reach out for those that are less fortunate than I am. So I started my daily walk and I would take different routes. I would knock on people's door. I would jump back, of course, into the grass area. And I would ask, how are you doing? Is there anything that we can get for you? Some food or you name it, we can bring it to you. And then may I have a word of prayer with you? So I changed routes and I'm still doing this.
That's
Then
great.
I, of course, yeah, so blessed. And then for those that are really in need, especially the people that are, what do you call them? Undocumented people.
Mm-hmm.
My heart was bleeding for them. There was absolutely nothing. So I was able to link up with a nonprofit organization that would give food for the needy. So my husband and I would drive up to that place twice a week. We would load up the truck with food and we would distribute that among with literature that I still had from literature ministry. It has been a total blessing. And then still doing with the proton patients because everything is shut down. I am able to walk on Monday morning from 8 o'clock until about 10:30, and take patients, those that are willing to, take them into the hills and give them a view and a taste of what the hills are like. It gives them exercise. It clears their mind. Many a times we would stop and have prayer because ultimately God is the ultimate physician. He is the great healer. And during all of this time, I feel so incredibly blessed to do all of this. And I think, Lord, am
Yeah.
I real? Am I pinching myself? You know, this is amongst all this havoc. Amazing, amazing grace. How sweet the sound.
Thank you for sharing. I consider this my first talk on stress management in the Bible, but Marieka mentioned one thing that in further discussion we will go back to that, and that is the focus on other people to help other people, and this will produce an effect on us more than anything else. I remember I watched a movie last week. Then the person was doing meditation with a guru in India, and everybody was in the silence in that room. And then this lady got a letter, a message that her daughter was disappeared. And then she raised from the meditation. She said, "My daughter is lost. I need to talk to." And everybody say, "Shh, shh." She said, "No, but it's my daughter and me. I need to do something." And everybody was, "Shh, shh." Man, what kind of people she said, you guys are I'm not gonna come back here. I need to take care of my daughter because she is lost and I have to go there and I have to do something. And that's the thing that is important for stress management. Is not just thinking about yourself and how poor you are and how you need this or that, but a concern about other people. That will relieve your stress automatically. We're gonna finish then now. And then I'll see you next time. Thank you for attending this, and God bless you all.